Sudden, after 2-3 months of enjoying meditation, all of a sudden said, oh, I don't feel like meditating. And if this trend continues, that means you have reached some level of plateau or a barrier which must be crossed. If we lead a life without any principle, without any guided pattern, it becomes quite chaotic. Imagine a lifestyle of a person who has no rhythm at all, doing things whenever. Such a life would be chaotic. So, when we adopt certain principles, especially trying to balance something and one who is trying to embark upon an inner adventure, I think it is no less than having a discipline that one would demand in mountain climbing. For example, if you are planning for Everest climbing, imagine the amount of discipline you would have to have at a physical level. Such a discipline is, I would say, mandatory for a spiritual seeker. Let's see, if I plan myself to meditate 6:30 every morning, it's good to meditate 6:30 every morning. But let's say you happen to wake up late for whatever reasons and say, now you're going to meditate at 8 o'clock, or sometime you might even meditate at 5 a.m. in the morning. So a certain level of flexibility is okay. But this need to meditate should always continue. Once we establish this particular rhythm, it becomes a kind of conditional thing that at certain time, your mood will elicit certain feelings that, okay, time to meditate. At a fixed hour, you tend to meditate. Your inner system says, oh, let me meditate now. This is what I would like to call it as automatism. Second element of our practice is cleaning. Ideal time for cleaning is soon as we enter home. We complete this process of cleaning, which is done at the end of our working day. Instead of mingling with family right away, freshen up and clean ourselves so that we regain lighter consciousness, which is more friendly, more conducive, which is not emotionally pressurized because of the work situation. With such a fresh approach, which a lighter approach, when we interact with our family members, it's a joyous moment. Let us compare this moment of cleaning. Suppose if you don't do the cleaning, it is something like when you go to a gym and come back home all sweaty and you want to hug your little children. They would run away from you. Dad, you smell a lot today. When the consciousness is also polluted from inside, I think we also cast certain shadow of our consciousness upon our loved ones. For example, if you had a bad day at work and you come home all fuming, you can see the atmosphere in the house, how everyone would become quiet. Instead of that, if you can go to your basement or in your room and just do the cleaning, okay, let's get rid of this baggage and freshen up yourself with a newer level of better consciousness and then interact with family members. It only promotes harmony, love, joy. Before going to bed again, when we offer prayer, and just before we offer prayer, let's scan through the daily activity and see where we went wrong, where we can adjust ourselves, where we can correct ourselves, where we can fine-tune ourselves and say, oh, I could have done this better, or I shall not repeat this again. Such a resolve will help us so that continuously we can go on putting a check on wrong things and add something very special that, oh, I can improve myself in such and such a style. Then we offer a prayer to the Lord and say, my Lord, forgive me for all that was done wrongly. I shall not do it again. Such a resolve will go a long way. And remind ourselves through this prayer also that, my Lord, you are the goal of human life. We are yet but slaves of wishes, putting bar to our advancement. Thou art the only God and power to bring us up to that stage. And when we analyze these words little by little, convey to our heart a lot of profound meaning behind it, why each word is utilized in its own sequence, the purpose behind it. It will strike your heart in a very moving way. It elicits and invokes the presence of the Lord. And our heart will recognize it also, the response from above. With such a state of mind, with such a grateful heart, when we peacefully go to sleep, embracing the Lord into our arms, go to sleep and see the nature of sleep at that time. When you wake up, you are ready again for morning meditation. And after meditation again, hold on this meditative state as long as you can. And then go out into the world and perform the duties that we are asked to. Daily routine will change the quality of our life once and for all. Years of observation has taught me one thing, that a person who loves to meditate, all of a sudden after 2-3 months of enjoying meditation, all of a sudden said, oh, I don't feel like meditating. And if this trend continues, that means you have reached some level of plateau or a barrier which must be crossed. Best thing under those circumstances would be to use one of those apps, Let's Meditate app, and connect with the trainer. Either you can sit remotely with the trainer, or you can actually ask a face-to-face meditation session so that this barrier can be removed. When I had to ask you a question, what is your name? You immediately give me the answer, my name is so and so. But if you have to give me a wrong name, you'll have to think and then come up with a name. And what happens at that time to your heart? It starts pumping faster and becomes heavier. If you have to lie to your mother, what happens to your heart at that time? Though you may have told the lie, for whatever reason, your heart will always reflect that heaviness. It will undergo some sort of tension. But when you have to simply say the right thing, Mommy, I went to this place, there's nothing wrong with it. When you have to say your name correctly to someone while introducing, nothing wrong with it. Answer just comes like that. And there is no repercussions. When we have to solve some problems in life, then we refer to the heart most of the time. But before that, mind has already chosen something pleasant, something very easier, something that would not take much efforts. Mind always looks towards to comfy or comfortable situations. Heart is not worried about all these things. Heart is always looking for what is right at the moment. So when the conflict arises, it is because mind wants to do something and heart wants to do something else. Precisely when something goes wrong, when things become unnatural, when there is asatya, untruthfulness, heart speaks louder. Whenever there is a conflict, it is because of this mismatch between heart and mind. So always follow the heart. There is nothing very special about how to make a decision. Everyone knows this. You need courage to follow the heart. When our attention is inward and always seeking answers from within, of course, we get a lot of information from outside. We have this analysis inside. We contemplate based on this feedback. And then heart makes the final call for it. See? Those are the best decisions. Even simple things like after 12th grade, which course should I take academically? Having graduated and got my degree, what should I do next? Having completed my education, which company to join? Having secured a job, whom to marry? All these critical decisions become very easy when we are seeking the help from within. As we develop more and more confidence from very early age in making decisions with the help of the heart, I think even more difficult decisions will become very, I would say, playful. Life becomes joyous. How to lead a life cheerfully? One simple answer that comes to my heart is to always living in the present. We should not allow our life to get bogged down by our past conditioning, past experiences. But then the question arises, the past experiences that were so painful for me, how can I forget it? Well, we have to take a lesson, a learning from the past experience. What makes us angry sometimes, what makes us sad sometimes, what makes us irritable at times is often due to this emotional baggage that we carry. But through heartfulness way of our practice, how long can such memory last in our heart? Not very long. When we practice cleaning very regularly and take sittings from preceptors regularly, then there is no chance for such a baggage to last in your heart. How one destroys inner emotional state. Our experience is so that when you are angry, that's the moment when we lose this inner emotional balance. That happiness seems to simply disappear in fit of anger. And when does anger appear in the heart? When certain things are happening against your will or against your desire. If one wants to have infinite happiness, infinite bliss, then we ought to minimize numbers of desires, from more and more of it to less and less, and finally, if possible, to zero. Make peace with yourself. But how can you enjoy happiness unless there is some peace within and surrounding you? If there is restlessness, I don't think anyone can be happy. It is only in a peaceful environment that we can embrace, we can hug these elements of peace. And peace is not possible, according to Lord Krishna, unless and until you develop a contemplative mind. And he questions Arjuna, how can you arrive at such a contemplative mind unless you have a focused mind? And how can you arrive at a focused mind? How can you regulate your mind unless and until you meditate? So my urge, my constant urge to all of you is to connect these dots. That unless and until I meditate, I will not be able to regulate my mind. If I cannot regulate my mind, I cannot remain focused. If I cannot remain focused, I cannot become contemplative. And in absence of contemplative mind, forget about peace. And if there is no peace, where will you find happiness in this world? Happiness or contentment through meditation is achievable.
Happiness is not something lurking outside. It always comes from within. Happiness is contentment is a product of something that happens within ourselves. Happiness is a result of a spiritual attainments from within. And these spiritual attainments can never be outside. It's again a byproduct. That's why we feel it that yes, happiness can come only from inside.
It's not a physical place. Wherever you go and you are able to create that environment, that is your home, see. We generally say, okay, I build this house, so that's where I'm comfortable. It's okay. This you made as per your requirements. But suppose you are going somewhere and based on your sadhana, based on your tapasya, you should be able to adjust wherever you are. You can be in one bedroom house in some friend's place, or you may be just sleeping with another 20 people in one big hall. So wherever you go, that should become your home. Ghar, see. Ghar to me is not one very specific place, though we all have our own places. Ghar is where all relatives, friends, family members, they come together and stay together. So that is the area I would call it. To me, ghar, it's a kind of attitude. Wherever you are, that becomes your home. Well, I personally don't like the bedroom culture that has developed in India, because that somehow creates a lot of privacy. It has plus and minus. For a joint, united family, I would say it's a big disadvantage than an advantage. People fight in their own privacy, and parents would never know what's going on inside. Right? But if you are staying together, then they will postpone their fight. And by the time next day comes and you wanted to fight, by then you have forgotten why was I supposed to fight anyway. So minimal privacy should be there in the house. Children also get spoiled. Oh, my bedroom, my TV. And you have no way of monitoring your own child. In fact, your own bedroom becomes the biggest enemy for your children.